So you're moving to the cloud. It's exciting, it's efficient, but there's this one huge question that a lot of people just gloss over. When something goes wrong, whose fault is it? Is it on you or is it on the cloud provider? Your Amazons, Googles, or Microsofts. Well, the answer isn't as simple as you might think, but getting it right is absolutely critical. So let's break down exactly what this shared responsibility model is and what it really means for you.
It really wasn't that long ago that if you were running a business, you had your own data center. I want you to picture this: a huge, loud, power-guzzling room just packed with blinking servers. Back then, your IT team was on the hook for absolutely everything. I mean, from the physical locks on the door all the way up to patching the software on every single machine. It was a massive, expensive, and never-ending headache.
Yeah, this was the on-premise era, and it was a heavy, heavy burden. Probably the best way to think about it is like this. Imagine you had to build your own house from scratch. I'm talking laying the foundation, running the electricity, putting in all the plumbing, just to have a place to live. That's pretty much what managing your own data center felt like.
And right here, you can really see the stark difference. On one side, you've got the old way, building your own house, where you were responsible for, well, literally everything, the whole shebang. But the cloud, it completely changes the game. It's way more like renting. And just like any rental agreement, that brings up the big question. Where does the landlord's job end, and where does yours begin? This is exactly where the cloud offers such a brilliant solution. It comes with a kind of rental agreement that clearly spells out who's in charge of what. And that agreement has a name: the shared responsibility model. So at its core, the shared responsibility model is just a formal way of saying, okay, here's the stuff we, the cloud provider, will take care of, and here's the stuff that you, the customer, have to take care of. It's all about creating total clarity so that nothing important falls through the cracks. Let's stick with our rental analogy. Think of the cloud provider as your landlord. They are always responsible for the physical building itself. That means they handle the security of the actual data centers. We're talking the guards, the gates, the cameras. They manage all the power, the cooling, and the physical hardware. You never, ever have to worry about a server overheating or a power outage at the facility. That is 100% on them. Okay, but here's where it gets really interesting. Not all cloud services are created equal. The amount of responsibility you take on really depends on the type of service you pick. We're going to look at the big three: infrastructure as a service, platform as a service, and software as a service. You'll hear them called IaaS, PaaS, and SaaS, and you can just think of them as different types of rental options. All right, let's start with infrastructure as a service, or IaaS. This is just like renting an unfurnished house. The provider gives you the solid walls and a roof, that's the physical infrastructure, but you have to bring all your own stuff. You're responsible for installing the operating system, setting up the network, managing your apps, and your data. This model gives you the most control, for sure, but it also means you have the most responsibility. Now, what if you want something a bit more move-in ready? Well, that's platform as a service, or PaaS. Think of this one as a furnished apartment. The landlord, your cloud provider, takes care of more of the basics, like the operating system and the tools you need to build things. You just bring your code, your applications, and manage your data. It's this fantastic middle ground that lets developers just focus on what they do best: building cool stuff, not managing infrastructure. And finally, the simplest model of all: software as a service, or SaaS. This is like staying in a hotel. You don't worry about the building, the plumbing, the furniture. It is all handled for you. Things like Gmail or Dropbox are perfect examples. The provider manages literally everything about the application itself. Your only job? You're responsible for your data inside that service and for deciding who gets access to it. So we've seen how responsibilities can shift around a lot depending on which service you choose. But, and this is a huge but, no matter which model you go with, whether it's IaaS, PaaS, or SaaS, there are a few absolutely critical things that are always your job. This right here is probably the single most important takeaway from this whole explainer. No matter how much heavy lifting the cloud provider does for you, what are you ultimately accountable for? No exceptions? Here it is. It boils down to these three things. First, your information and your data. It's your data. Second, the security of the devices you use to connect, like your laptop or your phone. And third, managing your accounts and identities. In other words, making sure only the right people have the keys to your stuff. These three things are completely non-negotiable. They are always, always on you. If you remember one thing, let it be this: There's a simple saying that just nails this concept perfectly. The provider secures the cloud. You secure your data in the cloud. Their job is to protect the giant physical infrastructure. Your job is to protect what you choose to put inside of it. So the next time you're using any cloud service, just ask yourself that one critical question. Am I doing my part to secure my data in the cloud?